I don't believe that someone here are against free and fair elections, are against freedom of speech, are against human rights, and so on and so forth. And each time we are trying to advocate here in this room who are strongly pro to have free and fair elections with some tough regulations, but for the interest of the citizens of each of the country which we are presented now. So this is a little bit skeptical, if I may, to speak about this situation, because we have to speak with enemies, with those who are not pro, who are strongly against, and those who are not going to follow these rules in the future. Election observation mission recommendations should be implemented in a timely manner. Sometimes we had political windows of opportunities, but they are coming after the big positive elections, like it was in Ukraine in 2019, 2020s, when we had free and fair elections. In 2019, came to the power populistic political group, led by current President Volodymyr Zelensky. He was not so strong on our side. He didn't know a lot about international standards, about Venice Commission of Code of Good Conduct of electoral practices, or about OEC standards, and so on and so forth. He just followed the ratings of some of the policies which were popular. And first of all, people believed that free and fair election is a good tool to reload the power in their country, but they had the power to reload this power. And I have to say that the most successful years in my memory, in our history, was 2019, 2020s, when we had already prepared draft of the laws, some of the solutions, developed acts, and civil society had the power just to send these proposals to the new presidential administration, who was led by populists. And the parliament voted for all of these amendments and changes, and parliament voted for human rights, and parliament voted for a proportional system with open party list, which was recommended by Venice Commission for Ukraine, as I remember, 15 years ago. But what happened then? The so-called political window of opportunity was closed. Why? Because nobody are caring about electoral reform between elections. And this is not just about political groups, this is about citizens, because they are not caring about electoral reform on a daily basis. They are thinking about economical, financial issue, about education, medical care, and so on and so forth. That's why this topic are becoming a problem of so-called experts groups, who are not so powerful as citizens, who are not following by populistic politicians, and so on and so forth. So my first recommendation to have not just recommendations, but developed legislation solutions, draft of the laws, draft of the acts, which will be helpful when the short window of opportunity will be open. Now we are following the new potential window of opportunity. What does it mean? That Ukraine got the candidate status, and we believe that we will be a member of EU in some years' perspective. And this year we developed so-called roadmap about democratic sustainable institutions. And there are a list of so-called deadlines, criteria and indicators, policies which have to be developed and adopted by Ukrainian parliament and government for having progress in fundamentals reforms. So what does it mean? That the collaboration between international organizations, sometimes it's about EU, European Commission, or Venice Commission, OEC, ODIHR, and so on and so forth, and local NGOs who are working on the ground and knowing this political frame very well, will produce some solutions at the end. And these recommendations will be adopted not because it was written by OSCE ODIHR in 2020s, when we had last time national wild local elections, because Ukraine has war now and no elections during martial law period time, but because civil society advocated to have this norm in the roadmap for sustainability of democratic institutions in Ukraine for having progress in the EU accession process. So it means that each time we have to think not about so-called theoretical collaboration, but to listen in each other, because sometimes government can misuse this potential progress or potential window of opportunity and misuse some of the norms which are there in documents. But my last point, I had a lot of different recommendations, but my moderator is nervous already. So my last point is that everything is possible, but recommendations without tough work and hard work on the ground, with the sustainable support of those institutions who are not just writing the standards, but who are following and advocating in a very, very diplomatic manner, but with the tough carrots, may produce positive outcome at the end. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Olga. Since Nacho Sanchez-Amor has